So AJAX requests can be handled with their own controller actions. They surely can, and it's a matter of taste what makes more sense. If you've got controller actions that essentially are doing the same thing in either scenario, for example, we had an action for showing details of a movie, and the only difference between how to run it for AJAX versus non-AJAX is whether we render the partial or whether we render the whole page. So in that case, it makes more sense. It's sort of less noise and clutter to make a simple change to the existing action to handle the XHR case separately. But if you've got some controller actions that are only there because AJAX needs them and they're not otherwise used by your regular app, they could have their own controller actions. The server absolutely has to rely on explicit hints like headers to detect XHR. In fact, if you were evil, and I'm not suggesting you should be, you could craft requests that look like they were XHR but really aren't. Or you could craft requests that look perfectly, they look like just plain old synchronous requests, but in fact they originated as a result of an XHR. In fact, I was reading a really interesting book on crimeware last night, suggesting that, for those of you who have cable modems at home, and you can administer them by going to their web page, served from the 198, it's usually 192.168.0.0. It's whatever or 0.1. It's one of the low numbers in the subnet. It turns out there's a variant of a drive-by attack that I had never thought of, where you can load a page from some site, and that page has AJAX that tries to ping your router, figure out what type it is, and start guessing admin passwords. And once it guesses the admin password, it logs into your router and uploads new firmware. Isn't that cool? So yes, the server must rely on the headers to detect XHR. The response to an AJAX request, as we said, can be anything as long as your client code knows how to handle it. And what happens, in fact, if the server fails to respond to an XHR request? Well, if you set a timeout, like we did in our simple example, you could have a handler function that's called that's saying, hey, I've been waiting for 10 seconds, nothing happened. But on its own, absent that, nothing actually happens. The browser will just sit there. Which is why, if you've ever noticed, when you load a page that's AJAX enabled and then you get disconnected from the internet, the AJAX controls don't usually get dimmed out. They're still there, but when you click them, nothing happens. Okay? So